Hello everyone, this is part 29 of What If Naruto's Mother Was Tsunade Senju, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
On the rooftop. As the battle in the stands and the village raged, Orochimaru, his former teacher and teammates prepared to face off. Kukukuku, to think that I can fight you all again, this truly is like old time, Orochimaru said with a smirk, unafraid that he was currently outnumbered 3-1. Now that Tsunade-sensei is free, we can get him out of here. All we have to do is take out one of Orochimaru's people, and the barrier will fall, Jiraiya thought. After that, the Anbu can take Sensei to safety and Tsunade and I can deal with Orochimaru. As if reading his mind, the four Otonin suddenly expanded the barrier, which protected their rear and preventing Jiraiya or anyone else in the barrier from attack them. Guess I spoke too soon, the Gama Sennin thought, while cursing his luck. Before we begin, I would like to compliment you Tsunade, Orochimaru said suddenly. Compliment me, on what? Asked the slightly confused slug princess. I want to compliment you and Jiraiya-kun on doing such a superb job on raising young Naruto-kun. He has proven to be quite the rare find given his Mokuton bloodline limit and other talents. In fact he reminds me a great deal of your dear little brother Naruto, Orochimaru said with a sly smile. When he first met Naruto he had noticed how much the young blonde was like his former student, not only in terms of characteristics, but also in some physical aspects as well. 1. Although unlike Naruto-kun, dear Naruto did not show the same promise as your son, which is probably why his life was cut so tragically short, Orochimaru finished with a cruel smirk and chuckle. Then again maybe it was because of the necklace you gave him, since you did say it was cursed. At the mention of Naruto, both Jiraiya and the Sandaime glared angrily at the Snake Sennin. But before either of them could say anything, Tsunade leapt forward in a blind rage, crushing the roof tiles underneath her as she moved forward. You bastard, I'll kill you, roared Tsunade as she flew toward her former friend with her fist raised. Tsunade was already struggling with her anger over what Orochimaru had done to Naruto in the Forest of Death. But after the way the Snake Sennin had talked about her brother, and how he died, it became too much for her to handle and she exploded with rage and would not stop until she killed the man with bare hands. Tsunade, stop. The Sandaime yelled, that's exactly what Orochimaru wants. Sadly though, Sarutobi's warnings fell on deaf ears, as all Tsunade could think of was how she was going to kill her former comrade. Phew, Tsunade was always so easy to anger, Orochimaru thought with a sick smile, before avoiding Tsunade's punch by jumping up into the air. But as soon as he was in the air, the Sandaime Hokage used the Kawara Shuriken roof tile shuriken technique to launch several roof tiles at him. Not good enough Sarutobi-sensei, Orochimaru said as he dodged them, before turning his tongue into a snake and launching it at the old Hokage, where it bit his neck. But just when the leader of Oto thought he had his former teacher, Sarutobi, reverted into mud revealing he had replaced himself with a Doton Cage Bunshin Earth-style, shadow clone. After realizing that he had been tricked, Orochimaru was sent flying to the ground by Jiraiya, who had suddenly appeared behind him and punched hard in the back of the head. Recovering quickly Orochimaru performed a quick mid-air flipsa to land on his feet, but as soon as he did, the Sandaime used Doru Tiger Earth Flow River to transforms the roof tiles underneath the Snake Sennin into a river of mud throwing him off balance. This then allowed Tsunade, who had snuck up behind him to deliver powerful punch to the face that would have shattered anyone's skull and killed him instantly. But as soon Tsunade's fist smashed into the Nuke Nin's skull, Orochimaru reverted into mud, revealing that like the Sandaime moments ago, he had replaced himself with a Doton Cage Bunshin. After replacing himself with his clone to avoid Tsunade's devastating punch, Orochimaru reappeared behind his female teammate and prepared to strike her from behind. But before he could make any kind of attack, he was kicked away by Jiraiya, who had appeared between his two former teammates, saving the slug princess from any harm. After being kicked away by the Gama Sennin, Orochimaru recovered within seconds and started to perform hand seals for a jutsu. But before he could finish his hand seals he heard the Sandaimes yell, Doton, Doryuden, Earth Style, Earth Dragon Bullet. Turning to the sound of his teacher's voice, Orochimaru saw a dragon-like head appear out of the river of mud that the Sandime created earlier, which then fired several dozen large balls of mud. After which the Sandime then used Karyudan, Fire Dragon Bullet, to exhale a long stream of fire from his mouth, which ignited the flying earth projectiles, increasing the destructive power. Within seconds of being hit by the flaming mud balls, Orochimaru was engulfed by flames, causing the snake Senju to cry out in pain as he fell into a crumpled heap. As expected, not even Orochimaru is a match for the combined might of the Hokage-sama, Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama, said the Anbu commander. Cut the crappy acting, Orochimaru, we know you're not dead, said Jiraiya as he and Tsunade rejoined their teacher. Agreed, added the Sandime. Kukukaku, and I thought I was rather convincing, joked the former Sannin as he rose out from the tile floors while his fake reverted into mud. Give it up, Orochimaru, not even you can hope to defeat the three of us by yourself, said Tsunade, who was still angry, but had now cooled down when she realized that Orochimaru had baited her, so that she would make a mistake for him to exploit. Ooh, it seems that you all underestimating me, especially if you think such petty attacks like those you made just now will kill me. So perhaps we should stop fooling around with one another and get serious, as we are no longer genin. You're right, said the Sandime before he threw off his Hokage robes and revealed his old shinobi uniform underneath and fell into a taijutsu stance. Fine by me, spoke Jiraiya as he also fell into a taijutsu. I had every intention of doing so, since I won't stop until you're nothing more than a bloody smear on the end of my heel, answered Tsunade as she began to crack her knuckles and her shoulders. Seeing his former teammates and teacher getting serious, Orochimaru also thought it was time, where like the Sandime he removed his cage robes, revealing his normal attire underneath. As the 4 cage-level shinobi faced off, the observing Anbu and other cages could feel the immense power emanating from them. It became even more apparent when the roof tiles underneath the 4 shinobi began to crack. Incredible, all 4 of them are releasing a huge amount of power, commented C, who had never sensed so much chakra at once in his life, as he watched the battle with Darui and the Reikage. The real battle is about to begin, said Mei, and received a nod of agreement from Ao, who had now uncovered his Byakugan to watch the battle. Due to the massive amount of chakra that was being released by the 4 cage-level shinobi, everyone on the rooftop, with the exception of the Mizukage and the Reikage, were finding it difficult to breathe, where it felt like the air was pushing down on top of them. Enter Naruto OST need to be strong. After about a moment or so of staring at one another, the 4 shinobi suddenly raced forward. Sarutobi struck first, where he threw a single kunai at Orochimaru and then used the Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone technique, to multiple the number of Shuriken from 1 to 1,000. At the same time, Jiraiya used the Ruka no Jutsu, Dragon Fire technique, to envelop the Shuriken in flames, turning them into flame Shuriken and enhancing the destructive capability. Unafraid of the flaming projectiles, Orochimaru finished his hand seals and yelled, Kuchios, Edo Tensei summoning, and pure world reincarnation. That move is, the concerned Sandime thought. He wouldn't, Tsunade thought angrily. Damn you, Orochimaru, Jiraiya thought as he cursed his former friend. First, yelled Orochimaru, as the first coffin rose from the ground in front of him. He's using the summons as a shield, said the Sandime after realizing what Orochimaru was up to. Second, shouted the snake Senju as the second coffin rose from the ground, where together the 2 coffins defended Orochimaru from the flaming shuriken. After the coffins blocked the flaming shuriken, Orochimaru summoned the last coffin and cried, Third. Damn it, no matter what, I can let him summon a third one, Tsunade thought, as she leapt into their air and channeled her chakra into her right fist and slammed down on top of the third coffin, just as it appeared out of the ground, and sent it back down. Oh, the third one failed, pity, but it matters little, as all is well, Orochimaru thought from behind the first 2 coffins. Good work, Haim, you prevented the third summon from appearing, congratulated the Jiraiya. Save the thanks, since we're still in trouble, the blonde woman replied, since she knew this jutsu all too well and knew what it meant for them. Indeed, as things will only get tougher for us now, replied the Sandime, while at the same time wondering who exactly Orochimaru had summoned to fight for him. I do so hope you all enjoy this little surprise that I have made for all of you, since I picked these 2 to mark our reunion, said Orochimaru with a cruel smirk. I'm certain that you Sarutobi-sensei and Tsunade will be especially delighted to see them again. Not sure of what to expect, the 3 shinobi prepared for what was to come. But when the coffin doors fell to reveal who Orochimaru had summoned with the Edo Tensei, the eyes of every shinobi on the rooftop widened in disbelief at seeing who was inside. The people, who were affected the most by the occupants of the coffins, were the Sandaime and Tsunade. For the people that Orochimaru had summoned were none other than the founder of Konoha, Senju Hashirama, the Shodai Hokage and Senju Tobirama, former sensei of Sarutobi and Nadaime Hokage. End Naruto OST need to be strong. Reikage-sama, is that who I think it is? C asked in shock. Yes, replied the bulky Kage as he narrowed his eyes. Those are two of Konoha's founders, the Shodai Hokage-sama and his brother the Nadaime Hokage-sama. Orochimaru, growled the Sandaime angrily. Damn you, Jiraiya said as he glared at his former best friend. Curse you wretched soul, Orochimaru, roared a furious Tsunade, who was appalled at how her former teammate used her great-uncle's own technique to summon him and her grandfather from the dead to fight them. Kakuku, laughed an amused Orochimaru. What's wrong? I thought you both would be happy to see them. Not like this, replied Sarutobi. At the same time the two former Hokage slowly stepped out from their coffins and walked forward towards the Sandaime and his two former pupils. It's been a long time, Saru, spoke the Shodai Hokage suddenly. You've aged, Sarutobi, commented the Nadaime Hokage as he looked at his former student. And you Tsunade, you've grown up, Hashirama said, as he looked at his granddaughter. In more ways than one, remarked the Tobirama with a smile as he glanced at the two large mounds on his great-niece's chest. Sofu, grandfather Tobirama Uji, great-uncle Tobirama, an upset Tsunade said as she fought back the tears that were beginning to fall with seeing her deceased relatives. I never expected to see you two again in this manner, commented the Sandaime sadly as he faced his former teachers. I must say I am quite surprised. I never expected anyone, other than myself, to be able to use Edo Tensei. I hate to admit it, but this kid is something else, the Nadaime Hokage remarked as he glanced back at the smirking Orochimaru. Now that he has summoned us, I'm afraid we will have no choice but to fight all of you, said the Shodai Hokage sadly. This is the worst possible outcome, said the Anbu commander. Reikage-sama, how is this possible? How did Orochimaru summon those two dead Hokages? C asked as he turned to his village leader. At first the Reikage did not answer, and just stared at the two deceased Hokage. But eventually he answered. From what I have heard, the technique that Orochimaru used is called the Edo Tensei. It's a forbidden Kuchio's no jutsu, which revives the dead. But from what I have heard, unlike most summoning techniques which normally involve a user offering up some blood, the Edo Tensei requires the user to offer up a living person's body, allowing the soul that has been summoned to inhabit it and tie it to the living world. So you're saying that Orochimaru sacrificed two people to summon the Shodai Hokage-sama and the Nadaime Hokage-sama? Darui asked with a large frown on his one visible eye, since he didn't like the sound of that. More than likely, and it's just as likely that the dust and dirt has surrounded the bodies of the two sacrifices and formed the summoned soul's original bodies. So that is the infamous forbidden technique of the Nadaime Hokage, Edo Tensei, Ao remarked with a slight frown. Yes, and it is just as deplorable as the stories have said, replied the Mizukage, who felt a twig of disgust after seeing Orochimaru use the technique, not liking the technique. As much as I enjoy watching this little catch-up, I think it's time we get to the matter at hand, said Orochimaru as he walked up to the two resurrected Hokage holding two kunai with seals attached to them. Glancing out to the village, the Shodai Hokage could hear the sounds of battle going on down in the arena and stands as well as from the village. He could even see the large snake summons destroying the buildings around them and explosions. So even now, after all this time, there is still war, the Shodai remarked sadly. But don't you like war? Asked a mocking Orochimaru. After all, you both excelled at it, and it is because of war that the two of you have become such revered figures in the shinobi world. Mocking the dead, have you no shame, Orochimaru? Sarutobi said angrily. My grandfather and great-uncle hated war, all they wanted was a safe place for our people to live in peace. Tsunade yelled furiously after hearing Orochimaru say that her forefathers enjoyed war. Hearing this, Orochimaru just smirked and placed the two seal kunai into the back of the heads of the two Hokages, which allowed him to have complete control over the late shinobi. After the seal kunais were inside their heads, the color began to return to the former Kage's faces, making them more lifelike. Once the two Hokage brothers were ready, Orochimaru spoke. Now then, gentlemen, if you would be so kind, dispose of my former teammates and my decrepit old sensei. Prepare yourselves Sarutobi, Tsunade, said the Shodai Hokage. Quote. For we will not be able to hold back on any of you, finished the Nadaime Hokage before he and his brother raced forward and attacked. Within seconds the two Sannin and the Sandaime found themselves under attack by the late Hokages, who spilt up and attacked by throwing several shuriken and kunai and then attacking from opposite sides. Despite being attacked from both sides, Sarutobi and his two remaining loyal students easily evaded the projectiles and defended themselves from the deceased shinobi. For the first few minutes of the fight, the 5-cage level shinobi fought with just taijutsu. As expected, the two late Hokages proved to be highly skilled in taijutsu and had excellent teamwork where they synchronized their attacks, making it difficult for their opponents to gain the advantage. But even so, the Sandaime and his two former students proved to be an even match for the two brothers in both taijutsu and in teamwork, where they were able to successfully defend themselves from the two Hokages' attacks. After a while, the two brothers were forced back by their opponents when the Sandaime and Jiraiya each blocked their separate punches and grabbed hold of them, preventing them from moving away, and allowing Tsunade to send them both flying with a supercharged punch. Recovering quickly, the two Cage brothers flipped backwards and landed back on their feet. As expected, this will not be an easy fight, commented the Shodai Hokage. It would seem so, replied the Nadaime Hokage. After forcing the two dead Hokages back, Sarutobi began to form several high-speed hand seals. Jiraiya, I'm going to need your support. Right. The Toad Sage replied, knowing what his sensei was going to do and prepared to help. Once the Sandaime was ready, he then said, Kaiten, Karu Enden, Fire Style, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet, and spewed out a large stream of fire that took the shape of a dragon. At the same time, Jiraiya spat out a long stream of toad oil from his mouth, which instantly ignited when it hit the flames and increased the intensity of the already supercharged flames by 1,000 degrees. Within seconds, the two Hokages were enveloped by the flames of the fire attack. But shortly after, the Nadaime countered with Suten, Suijinheki, Water Style, Water Encampment Wall, and spat out a massive wave of water from his mouth to hold the flames back. But even with its elemental advantage, the water wall struggled to hold the oil-enhanced flames back. Seeing this, the Nadaime Hokage began to spit out even larger amounts of water from his mouth, causing a battle for dominance to begin between the three shinobi. Eventually, though, the Nadaime Hokage won the battle for dominance and extinguished the flames. Unbelievable, he was actually able to defeat the combined efforts of the Hokage-sama and Jiraiya-sama, by himself, muttered one of the Anbu in awe. As expected from the great Nadaime Hokage-sama, Mei thought. After defeating Jiraiya's and Sarutobi's combination attack, the Nadaime Hokage then preformed a single hand seal and began to gather the moisture from the air and said, Suten Susoha, Water Style, Water Colliding Wave. After which a massive spiraling vortex appeared around the two dead Hokage and exploded into a giant wave that headed straight for the Sandaime and the others. Amazing, using a high-level water jutsu like that, by just forming a single hand seal, in a place with no pre-existing water nearby, using the moisture in the air alone, said C in disbelief. Not even I could do that, Darui thought after seeing massive building-size wave. Shit. Jiraiya thought when he saw the giant wave heading for them. Jiraiya, Tsunade, stay back, yelled the Sandaime as he formed 4 quick hand seals and yelled Doten, Doryuheiki, Earth Style Wall. As soon as the Sandaime said this, he spat out a large amount of mud from his mouth onto the roof tiles in front of them, which then formed into a massive earth wall that blocked the giant wave. Quick thinking sensei, said Jiraiya as he congratulated his former teacher, but quickly found his congratulations were premature, as the Nadaime used his water manipulation skills to have the water circle around the earth wall and surround the 3 shinobi. Before the massive water wave could envelope them, the 3 shinobi quickly jumped into the air and onto the top of the earth wall to safety. As the water around the earth wall began to settle, the 3 shinobi immediately jumped off it. At the same time, the Shodai, who had been standing in the sidelines during his brother's attacks, raced towards them with phenomenal speed. Wasting no time, the Sandaime and Jiraiya fired several fire blasts at the Konoha founder, hoping to force him back. Tsunade also joined in by using her superhuman strength to throw several large pieces of the earth wall at her late grandfather. But despite the massive barrage of earth and fire attacks he came under from, the Shodai Hokage skillfully evaded and blocked all of them, before finally jumping up into the air and sending Jiraiya flying back into the earth wall with a strong kick, which the Toad Sage blocked, but was still sent flying back. Damn, He moves pretty fast for an old guy, Jiraiya muttered as he began to pick himself up. Seeing Jiraiya set flying, Sarutobi quickly moved towards the Shodai and attempted a right cross to the Shodai's face. Only to miss as the Shodai sidestepped the punch, who then kicked some water, from his brother's earlier water attack, into the Sarutobi's face, momentarily blinding the elder Hokage. But before the Shodai Hokage could take advantage of the situation, Tsunade appeared above him and attempted to use her Chutenkyaku heavenly foot of pain down on her grandfather's head. Who saw the attack coming and caught her leg just as it was about to hit him and then swung her around for a moment, before sending her crashing into Jiraiya, who had just gotten back up. Once Tsunade had been dealt with, the Shodai turned back to his former student, who had just regained himself and tried to attack his late teacher. But instead, he was met with a sharp kick to the face. Along with several more kicks and a strong punch to the face and another kick to the stomach that sent the old cage flying back into the earth wall. Well, I guess this isn't so bad, Jiraiya thought with a grin as he was face deep into Tsunade's chest after she was sent crashing into him. But just as he was thinking about coping a feel of the blonde woman's ample chest, he was stopped by a low growl. Try it and you'll lose the arm, which I will then use to beat you to death, Tsunade said angrily, as if reading her teammate's mind. At first Jiraiya actually considered trying, thinking it would be a fair trade just to feel one of those two massive mounds in his hand for one moment. Since when would this opportunity ever appear again in his life? But he then decided it was best to leave it, since he might need both his arms for this battle. Oosh, oh well, at least I finally got to press my head on those heavenly things, which is more than I ever hoped to achieve in life, Jiraiya thought to himself, after Tsunade got off him. As soon as the two Sannin were back on their feet, they saw their former teacher being set flying back into the earth wall. Acting quickly, the two Sannin jumped over to their teacher and helped the old man back onto his feet. You okay, sensei? Jiraiya asked as he helped the Sandaime up. Yes, I'm fine, Jiraiya, thank you, the Sandaime replied before glancing up at the Shodai, who just stared at the three shinobi and took a classic taijutsu stance. It seems that their power has not waned in the slightest. Fighting them both will prove to be quite the challenge even with the three of us working together. No kidding, Jiraiya answered as his arms still felt slightly numb from the Shodai's kick. Well, you didn't think this would be easy. Tsunade rounded. No, replied the Toad Sage, but it would have been nice if was. When Jiraiya said this, Sarutobi suddenly noticed that the Nadaime Hokage was nowhere in sight, but before he could say or do anything, the late brother of Senju Hashirama appeared out of the water behind the three shinobi and grabbed hold of the Sandaime and dragged him into the water. Before Jiraiya and Tsunade could even attempt to help their sensei, the Shodai attacked, taking advantage of the distraction, where he delivered a sharp kick to Jiraiya's face. Shit. Not again, the white-haired man thought as he was sent flying back, while Tsunade defended herself from her grandfather's taijutsu attacks. You've become quite strong, Tsunade, commented the Shodais after his granddaughter dodged and blocked several of his more skillful taijutsu moves. You've no idea how strong I've become, Tsunade replied, after ducking under one of her grandfather's punches and hitting him with a devastating punch to the stomach that sent the former Hokage crashing onto the tiles at the other end of the roof. Shortly after doing this, Tsunade then saw Sarutobi emerge from the water after escaping from her great uncle. Together the two shinobi then quickly climbed up the earth wall, where Jiraiya was waiting, believing they would have the advantage of the high ground if they stood up here and could see any attacks coming. But no sooner had they reached the top, they came under attack from the Nadaime Hokage, who was still underwater and used the Sutan Mizuyari water style, water javelin technique to fire several high-speed beams of water at the earth wall that easily pierced right through it, bringing the earth wall tumbling down. Fuck, we just can't catch a break, cried Jiraiya as he and the others landed back on the tiled roof. We need to stay together, if they separate us, we're finished, said Tsunade. Agreed, replied the Sandaime. Well, I think we should be alright that way, since they're not too much here to keep us separate from one another. So we should be fine, as things can't get much worse than they are now. No sooner had Jiraiya said than, the Toad Sage quickly realized he had spoken too soon as they suddenly felt the tile roof tremble. You just had to say it, didn't you, you idiot? Tsunade rounded angrily before they saw tree branches spring out from the roof tiles. This is not good, said the Sandaime, this is the secret technique that only the Shodai Hokage Sam could use, not even Yamato can use it. Mokuton Haijutsu, Jukai Koten would release secret technique, nativity of a world of trees. Said the Shodai Hokage as he channeled more of his chakra into the ground. As the Shodai continued to pour more chakra into the ground, the entire rooftop became covered by fast-growing trees. Sarutobi and the others tried to stay together, but they were eventually separate by the large trees, which eventually wrapped themselves around the three shinobi. Incredible, muttered Ao. So this is what a true master of Mokuton is capable of. Truly amazing, the Mizukage remarked. When compared to his ancestor, Tsunade's son's skill in Mokuton is still worlds apart from the Shodai's. But still, over time the boy could possibly one day match his ancestor's prowess, especially if he is left unchecked, the Raikage thought with a frown. To think we would actually see Mokuton performed by two separate people on the same day, it's unbelievable, muttered C to himself. This is the same technique that is said to have created the entire forest that now surrounds Konoha, said the Anbu commander in awe after seeing the legendary technique. Seeing that his sensei and teammates were now separate and trapped in the binds of the Shodai's trees, Orochimaru slowly walked up to them. Kakukaku, looks like we've finally caught you all. Unwilling to give up, Tsunade began to flex her arms, in an attempt to break free. But even with her enhanced strength, it was not easy, since the tree binds were incredibly strong thanks to her grandfather's chakra. At the same time Sarutobi was trying reach a nearby tree branch to help him summon some backup. Eventually after much struggle, the Sandaime finally reached the branch and placed his hand on it and shouted Kuchio's no Jutsu. Come forth, Monkey King Enma. As soon as Sarutobi had said this, a massive cloud of smoke suddenly appeared in front of him. Enter Naruto OST heavy violence. Looks like something troublesome has appeared, commented Orochimaru with an annoyed look. Hey, looks like the old man is finally getting serious. It's been a while since I've seen that old monkey Enma, Jiraiya said to himself after seeing Sarutobi's summons, before becoming serious again, knowing he had to escape now to help. Orochimaru, growled Enma when he saw the snake Sennin, I knew this day would come. You were a fool to let him go when you did, Sarutobi, you should have killed him when you had the chance. I intend to fix that mistake now, the old Hokage replied. Hey, it's too late, you've gotten too old, scoffed the old monkey. Perhaps, but I won't know until I try, so please Enma help me and turn into Kongonyoi, free-forming diamond pole. Hearing this, Orochimaru quickly ordered the two deceased Hokages to attack, knowing how difficult things would get if he allowed Enma to take on his staff form. Acting quickly, the two Hokages ran towards the elder monkey from two separate directions. But before Enma could defend himself, the two Hokages were intercepted by Tsunade and Jiraiya, who had broken free of their binds, where the former used her enhanced strength to free herself and the lesser used the Rasengan spiraling ball to break the binds. After freeing herself from her binds, Tsunade immediately jumped into the air above the Nadaime Hokage and used her Chutenkyaku to send her great uncle crashing down through the tree and onto the roof tiles below. At the same time, Jiraiya appeared in front of the Shodai Hokage and blocked the Shodai's kick with his left arm, before brining up a newly formed Rasengan in his right hand, and slammed it into the Konoha founder's stomach, sending him flying. Jiraiya, Tsunade, what are you two doing here? The Monkey King asked in surprise. No time to explain, hurry up and change. Tsunade yelled as she eyed her late great uncle who was already getting back up on his feet. Right, said the Monkey King, where he jumped into the air and prepared to transform. If those two are here to help, we might actually stand a chance of winning. Once Enma transformed into his staff form, he immediately flew towards his bound friend and destroyed his wooden binds. As soon as Sarutobi was free, the Sandaime quickly took hold of Enma and fell into a Bojutsu stance where he was then flanked by his two late students and eyed the Shodai and Nadaime Hokages, who had recovered and were now flanking the three shinobi. Amazing, what a battle, is this what a battle between cage-level shinobi is like? The Anbu commander asked himself. Ah well, it seems that I have no choice but to join the battle now, Orochimaru muttered to himself, before he opened his mouth to an inhuman width, allowing a large snake to emerge from it, which then opened its mouth as well and produced a long straight sword. Kusanagi no Tsurugi, grass-cutting sword, the Sandaime thought when he saw the sword. Looks like Orochimaru is also getting serious, Jiraiya thought with a frown, knowing what this meant. Sensei, you and Enma go deal with Orochimaru, Tsunade and I will handle these two, Jiraiya said without taking his eyes off the Shodai. Are you certain? The Sandaime asked. Yes, now go. Tsunade yelled, fearing that the two Hokages would attack before Sarutobi could go. Very well then, let's go Enma, the Sandaime yelled as he prepared to attack. Even though my pole form is as hard as diamond, the Kusanagi no Tsurugi can still hurt me, spoke Enma. Nodding to this, Sarutobi quickly raced forward to engage his fallen student, while his other two former students fought and held back the two Konoha founders. After jumping into the air, Sarutobi had Enma extend his pole form and aim it at Orochimaru, who immediately flipped sideways to avoid the pole and moved back several feet, where he then faced off against his former teacher. For the next few minutes the two cage-level shinobi fought in a fierce battle, and despite his advanced age, the old Hokage proved to be more than a match for fallen student. So much so that Orochimaru was even forced of the defensive, blocking and avoiding most of Sarutobi's attacks. Eventually though, Sarutobi was able to gain the advantage further by extending Enma forward again, forcing Orochimaru to block the staff with the flat side of his sword. When he did this, Enma's arm suddenly sprang out of his pole form and grabbed hold of the fallen Sanin's neck, choking the life out of him. End Naruto OST Heavy Violence. Orochimaru, this is end for you, I'm going to wring that neck of yours with my bare hands, just as I should have done years ago, growled the Monkey King as he continued to choke Orochimaru. But just when he had the snake Sennin, Orochimaru reverted into mud, revealing he had replaced himself with a Doton, Kage Bunshin. After escaping the Monkey King's grip, the real Orochimaru appeared out of the mud of his clone. But no sooner had he appeared, the Sandaime sent the rogue Sannin flying backwards with a powerful swing with Enma. Moments after doing this, two objects came crashing down on opposite sides near the Sandaime. When the dust settled, the Sandaime saw that the two objects were the Shodai and Nadaime Hokages who were badly damaged. On closer inspection the Sandaime could see that the Nadaime's right arm had been ripped off and the Shodai had a large hole in his stomach. Shortly after, both Jiraiya and Tsunade appeared next to the Sandaime. Both looked slightly ruffled and had a few light injuries. But other than that, both Sannin looked to be in good condition. I'm pleased to see that both of you are okay. Hey, you won't get rid of us that easily, old man, Jiraiya joked. Yes, the battle is over, the Hokage-sama, Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama have won, said one of the Anbu excitedly. Believing that with the two Hokages down, Orochimaru would be finished. I would not be so certain of that, the Anbu commander said somberly, where he then pointed at the two Hokages, who were already regenerating. Once they had fully recovered they stood up as if nothing had happened. Shit, Jiraiya quietly cursed, as if things weren't hard enough. As I thought, they and invulnerable to damage, due to the fact that they are already dead, I fear that the only way we can defeat them is if I use the Yondaime's technique, Sarutobi said. Sensei, you can't. Jiraiya said. You know what will happen if you use that technique, Tsunade warned. Yes, I am aware, but it is our only chance in defeating the Shodai and Nadaime Hokages. No, it isn't, there are other ways, Jiraiya said. If we can keep Orochimaru away and separate the Shodai and the Nadaime, we can seal them up one at a time. But, listen to me, Sensei, you may be eager to give your life up, but there's no way I'm going to let you, at least not without a fight. I already failed to stop Minato sacrificing himself when the Kyuubi attacked, but I won't let you do the same thing. Not until all other options have been exhausted, so until then don't give up on us. For once I agree with the pervert, Tsunade said as she joined in on the conversation. The time hasn't come, something like that. The village still needs a Hokage, it needs you. After hearing his former student's stubborn refusal in letting him use the Shiki Fujin, dead demon-consuming seal, to stop the two deceased Hokages, the Sandaime could only smirk in amusement. Very well then, we will continue to try, although I fear it may eventually come to it, sooner or later. Kukuku, Orochimaru chuckled as he stood back up. I must say I'm rather impressed with how well the three of you are faring. You're putting up a much better fight than I had anticipated, but still you are only delaying the inevitable, for you will all die here today. We'll see about, replied the Sandaime as he held Enma up. Oh come now, Sensei, there is no need for false bravado, Orochimaru mocked. I can also see that you are getting tired, you've aged quite a bit and do not have the stamina you once had. Phew 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 phew. It's true that I have aged, but it does not mean I am dead yet. Hearing this, Orochimaru just chuckled again. Kukukuku, it's rather pitiful at how you, the man who was hailed as the Kami no Shinobi, god of shinobi, cannot beat old age. After saying this, Orochimaru then began to pull on his face, before ripping it off, like a mask, revealing a female face. What the? Said the Anbu commander. What going on? Ao said in shock. I have no idea, replied the Mizukage, who was just as much in shock as Ao. Reikage-sama, what's going on? Who is that? C asked, but received no answer, as the bulky Kage was just as horrified at what he was seeing as everyone else, and could not comprehend what he had just seen. So he really did it, Jiraiya thought angrily, as this had confirmed everything he had feared. Who are you? The confused Sandaime Hokage yelled, as he didn't understand what he was seeing. Sensei, that's Orochimaru, Jiraiya answered. Orochimaru. But how? Asked Tsunade, who couldn't understand what was going on. No, don't tell me you've actually completed that forbidden jutsu that you began all those years ago. The Sandaime asked in horror. At the Sandaime question, the Snake Sannin just laughed, confirming Sarutobi's worst fears. You're not human anymore, you're a demon, yelled old Hokage in rage. You monster Orochimaru, you don't deserve to be called human anymore, shouted Tsunade, who had heard what Orochimaru had been trying to achieve before he was forced to leave Konoha, from Jiraiya. Kukuku, and pray tell why I should care about being something as low as human? The Snake Sennin asked in amusement. Jiraiya, you knew that he had completed that jutsu, the Sandaime asked as he glanced at his former student. Yes, the Toad Sennin answered sadly. I wanted to spare you both the news, since I knew how much it would hurt you, when you learned of it. Damn you Orochimaru, Tsunade yelled, mark my words, before this day is done, there will be one less Sannin in the world. Now I understand the depth of my mistake, I was a blind fool not to have killed you when I had a chance, Sarutobi said. Don't take on all the blame, Sensei, I'm just as much at fault, I could have stopped him later on when he fled. But in the end I couldn't do it either, Jiraiya said as he balled his fist in anger as he watched his former friend laugh at their anger. This is exactly why I wouldn't recommend you to become the Yondaime Hokage, your twisted ideas and desire for immortality would have brought disaster to the village, Sarutobi said angrily. My immortality technique keeps a person's soul and mind in this world forever. In other words, it is like a reincarnation technique, where after I find a new body, I transfer my soul and mind into that body and take it over. The only reason I had my old face on was because I wanted to see the delight on all your faces when you saw me again. That's why you want Sasuke and Naru-chan, you're hoping to use one of them as your next body. Tsunade yelled in anger, realizing Orochimaru's true goal. Quite correct, my dear, in fact once I've captured them, I'm hoping to find a way to combine both their powers together, where I would then have the two most perfect vessels imaginable. Such a disturbing jutsu, it is truly sickening, commented the Shodai Hokage as he moved next to Orochimaru after he had finished listening to Orochimaru's explanation of his immortality technique and his plans of Naruto and Sasuke. Indeed, replied the Nadaime Hokage, who was also disgusted by what he had heard after walking next to the Snake Sennin. Even the Mizukage and the Reikage, who were watching from outside the barrier, were disgusted by what they had heard. It had also confirmed everything they had heard about the former Sannin and proven without a doubt that the man had fallen far from grace or redemption. You monster! Roared Tsunade in anger after hearing what Orochimaru planned to do to her son and took a step forward in anger. I won't let you touch him. Kukukaku, my dear Tsunade, you act as if you have a choice in the matter. As we speak, my subordinates are tracking young Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun down, and by then the three of you will be dead. You bastard! Cried the furious Tsunade, as she was about to take another step forward, but was stopped by Jiraiya, who knew that Orochimaru was just goading her again into attacking him. Calm down, Haim, he's just goading you again, don't worry about the kid, he's not one to go down easy. Besides, he has Kushina, Shizune, Yamato and the others looking out for him. After hearing this, Tsunade slowly started to calm down. But even so it was not by much, as she was still glaring furious at her former friend, and had every intention of killing him and making him suffer for all his crimes. Just how many people have you used this despicable jutsu on? The Sandaime asked in outrage. I believe this would be my second host, and I plan to do the same to either Sasuke-kun or Naruto-kun after they have grown to my liking. Over my dead body you will. My dear Tsunade, that is exactly the plan, Orochimaru replied with a sadistic grin before he had his face revert into his original face and then ordered the Shodai Hokage to attack. who used his Mokuton powers to grow even more trees, enveloping the entire space inside the barrier with them, making it difficult for the observers to see inside. Hokage-sama, Jiraiya-sama, Tsunade-sama, cried the three Anbu together. Inside the barrier, the three Konoha shinobi stayed inside Enma's Kongo Roheiki, Vajra prison wall, which protected them from the Shodai's attack. Who? Nice going, you old monkey, you probably just saved our hides, Jiraiya said as he let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, Jiraiya noticed a strange look over his teacher's face. Hey old man, are you okay? This is all my fault, everything that happened since that day. All of this could have been avoided if I had just killed him back then. But when I had the chance, I just couldn't bring myself to do it, the Sandaime thought with a mixture of sadness and anger as he thought back to that night when he raided Orochimaru's hidden lair. But now I will correct my past mistake and kill him. Enter Naruto OST need to be strong. After reaffirming his resolve to kill his fallen student, a strong determined look appeared on the old man's face, a look that none of his students had seen in their sensei face in a long time. Touching one of Enma's poles that made up the protective prison around them, Sarutobi had the Monkey King revert into his single pole form, where he then once again took a bojutsu stance and yelled. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Enma, let's go. I'll need you all to back me up. Hi. The two Sannin replied as stood side by side with their teacher and attacked. For the next few minutes, the observers outside the barrier watched as the battle between the 6 cage-level shinobi became even more furious. But eventually during the battle, their ability to see inside the barrier ended when the Shodai Hokage used the Genjutsu, Kokuangyu no Jutsu, illusionary technique, bringer of darkness technique to obscure everyone's view of the battle. End Naruto OST need to be strong. Outside the barrier. Once the Genjutsu blocked the observer's view of the battle, Haku and Chojuro suddenly appeared on the rooftop and quickly made their way over to the village leader. Mizukage-sama, called the two genin when they saw their leader. Haku, Chojuro, I am pleased to see that you are both unharmed, the female Kage said. As are we of you, Mizukage-sama, replied Haku. What are you two doing here and where is Zabuza and your teammate Saito? Ao asked with a disapproving look when he saw the two genin. Zabuza-sama and Saito-kun are with Daimayo-sama, and are ensuring that no harm befalls to him in the battle below, answered Haku. Zabuza-sensei also told us to report to you and to ask you if we should try to leave the village with Daimayo-sama or find a safe location and wait the battle out, finished Chojuro. Mizukage-sama, we should leave the village at once with the Daimayo-sama. This battle is Konoha's problem, it does not concern us, said Ao. At first the Mizukage did not respond to what Ao had said, and remained silent, as she weighed over her options, but after a minute or so she came to a decision. Haku, I want you and Chojuro to head back to Zabuza and tell him to get the Daimayo-sama to a safe location. Once he is safe, he is to assist any and all Konoha shinobi in the defense of their village, as of this moment Kiri stands with Konoha. Mizukage, you can't. Ao shouted in shock, this war has nothing to do with us, there is no need for us to get involved. Actually there is, remember we came here to Konoha not only to participate in the Chunin exam, but to also try and form an alliance with it. With Suna's betrayal, the chance for an alliance between our two villages has drastically increased. Furthermore, by helping Konoha we can curry some good favor with the people, and show them that Kiri has truly changed from its bloody past, which could help our village greatly later on. Also need I remind you that Orochimaru is also wanted in Kiri for several crimes against our village. We have an opportunity here that could benefit our village greatly and we will take it. But, stuttered Ao, as he tried to argue, but before he could say anything the female Kage spoke again. Enough. I have made my decision, we will aid Konoha, Mei said in an authoritative voice, showing why she had been selected as the Godai Mizukage. After settling the argument with Ao, Mei then quickly turned to the two genin. Now once the Daimayo-sama has been secured, I want you two and Saito to stay with him and make sure that he stay safe. Hi Mizukage-sama, the two genin replied before they took off. Soon after they left, Ao and the Mizukage shunshined down into the stands to help in the battle. But as Haku and Chojuro made their way back down to the stands, Haku suddenly turned, and headed out into the village. Haku, where are you going? Yelled Chojuro when he saw his teammate take off in a different direction. The Mizukage told us to report to Zabuza-sensei and secure the Daimayo-sama. I have something else I need to do, you go to Zabuza-sama and inform him of the Mizukage's orders. You and Saito-kun will be enough to protect the Daimyo-sama. Before Chojuro could say anything more, the young girl took off, leaving only small snowflakes behind. At the same time, when the Mizukage came to her decision to help the Konoha, the Raikage and his subordinates were discussing the same issue. Boss, what should we do now? Darui asked as he turned to the Raikage. I say, we get Bidono, the Daimyo-sama, Yugito and the others and leave the village. This battle is Konoha's problem, not ours. Let the Konoha dogs fight their own battles, said C. Who, like many Kumo shinobi, did not have a great deal of respect for the Leaf Village or its shinobi, due to their village's strong rivalry. Agreed. Once we have secured the Daimyo-sama and met up with B and the others, we leave this village, said the Raikage. If we're lucky, Konoha and Suna will take care of each other, or at the very least they'll weaken each enough to allow us to take advantage of the incident. Nodding to this, the two Kumo nins took off with their cage and made their way down below the stands. In the village, as the battle on the rooftop of the stadium continued, Naruto and his companies made their way through the village, doing their best to avoid the heavy fighting that was going on in the village between the Konoha forces and the invading Suna and Oto forces. Geez, why the hell do we even have to go through all this trouble? I don't even like Sasuke, mumbled Shikamaru as they made their way through a small alleyway to avoid some fighting between some Konoha shinobi and Suna nins. Shut up, Shikamaru, Sakura rounded as she turned to the lazy Nara. Sasuke-kun needs our help, so we're going. She's right, Shikamaru, whether you like it or not we need to go help Sasuke. I'll admit Sasuke and I don't exactly see eye to eye all the time. But he is still a Konoha shinobi and our comrade, and he needs our help, said Naruto. Come on you lot, enough talking, we need to get out of the village as quickly as possible before any enemy shinobi spots us, said Pakken. I think it's a little late for that, Ino said when they came to a sudden stop and saw the masked Anbu standing at the end of the alley accompanied by two masked Oto nins. Quickly Naruto and the other turned to go back to the other end of the alley but found three more Oto nins blocking the way they came. Also they noticed four more Oto shinobi who were looking down at them from the rooftops of the two buildings that flanked the alleyway. Shit, was surrounded, Naruto cursed inside his mind before leaning over to the Nara heir. Shikamaru, do you have any smoke bombs on you? A couple, but they won't do us any good. We're confined to this alleyway and surrounded on all sides, the shadow user replied, already figuring out what Naruto was thinking. Trust me, I have a plan, just have them ready when I give the signal. Not sure what Naruto had planned, the young Nara just nodded. After which the genin attention was soon turned to the masked Anbu, who suddenly spoke in a slightly muffled voice that was strangely familiar to Sakura and Naruto. Senju, Naruto, we have orders to take you with us, surrender peacefully and you will be unharmed. Really? Naruto asked calmly as he walked forward from the group and held his arms behind his back. And let me guess who gave you those orders, Orochimaru, since he is the leader of Otogaku after all. Orochimaru. Ino cried in shock, who had been unaware of this. You serious? Shikamaru asked in equal shock. Yay, back when we ran into him in the Forest of Death, he had the symbol for Oto on his headband, so it isn't hard to figure out that he is the one leading Oto. Hold on a sec, Ino said, are you saying that it was Orochimaru who defeated you, back then? Yay, he was. Geez, he's like a magnet for trouble, Shikamaru thought, taking on a Sannin by himself. That's just insane, he doesn't know how lucky he is to be alive. Yes, you are correct, we follow Orochimaru-sama, now will you surrender peacefully or not? The Anbu answered. And what if I were to refuse? Then we will capture you by force and kill your friends, the Anbu replied. But if you surrender, they will be allowed to go, unharmed, as our interests lies only with you. Why do I get the feeling that if I do, they'll be killed anyhow, Naruto thought with a small frown. Well then I guess I have no choice but to, now. The blonde boy said as he used his hands, behind his back, to count down and signal Shikamaru to drop the bombs. As soon as the Nara dropped the handful of smoke bombs, the entire alleyway filled up with smoke. After which Naruto moved over to the wall on his left side and used his superhuman strength to punch a hole through the wall, allowing the young genin to escape through it. Good work, you two, congratulated Pakken. Thanks, replied Naruto as they ran through the building and out into the abandoned street, which had a few dead bodies of a few Oto, Suna and Konoha shinobi in it. After about a minute or so, the group came to a stop in the fork in the street. Which way do we go now? Sakura asked. This way, Pakin answered after sniffing the air and pointing down the street to his left with his right paw. Now come on before those Oto goons catch up with us. You guys go that way, I'll go this way, Naruto said as he pointed to the opposite street. What? But we need to stick together. Ino said. Look, you all heard that Anbu guy, they're after me, not you. I lead him away while you go after Sasuke. There's no way we're going to leave you to face all those guys by yourself, Sakura said. Listen, they won't kill me, they want me alive, so I should be fine. He's right, Ino, Shikamaru said, who knew that to win a game a player must be willing to sacrifice a piece. But even so, this was real life and it made decisions like this all the harder, especially since it was a friend who was sacrificing himself, and Shikamaru did not like this. Then I go with you as well, Ino volunteered as she moved towards Naruto, but was stopped by the spiky-haired boy. No, it's better if I go alone, my chances of losing are better if I am alone, besides Sasuke is going to need all the help he can get if he's going against Gara. I'll catch up with the rest of you as soon as I lose them. I agree with Naruto, Pakin said suddenly, if we want to get to Sasuke in time, he will need to lead him away, otherwise they'll just keep coming after us. Seeing that it was 3 against 2, the girls finally relented. After wishing Naruto good luck, the 3 genin and the ninken quickly made their way down the street. As they did, Naruto suddenly saw the fake Anbu and the Oto nins making their way towards him by jumping over the rooftops. Gaining their attention, Naruto then ran down the street hoping to lead him away from Shikamaru and the girls. There he is, said one of the Oto nins as he pointed to Naruto as he ran down the street. Wait, said the fake Anbu, as he stopped the other Oto nins. He's trying lead us away from the others. So what, our orders are to capture him, not those kids, said one of the Oto shinobi. Our orders were also to make sure that they did not interfere with Gara, which is why all of you are to go after them and make sure they don't. But what about him? The same Oto nin asked. Leave Naruto-kun to me, answered the Anbu, which of course made the Oto nins frown. But none of them dared disobey him and nodded before racing after Shikamaru and the girls, leaving Naruto to the fake Anbu. After a few minutes of running, Naruto looked back to see if any sign of the Oto shinobi. Seeing no sign of the enemy shinobi, the Senju heir thought about making a Kage Bunshin Shodown clone of himself and using the clone to lead the perusing shinobi further away. While he hid somewhere and waited for them to pass him by, this would then allow him to catch up Shikamaru and the girls. But before Naruto could even do this, he suddenly heard the familiar whooshing sounds, kunai flying through the air. Acting quickly, Naruto jumped to his left, narrowly avoiding the projectiles, which stabbed the ground he had been just standing on a moment ago. As soon as Naruto had avoided the kunai, he saw the fake Anbu landing directly in front of him, a few meters apart. Where are your friends? Naruto asked, while at the same time glancing around him, making sure that none of the Oto nins were trying to sneak up on him and attack him from different directions. Oh, I just sent them after your friends, I decided to deal with you myself, answered the fake Anbu. Hearing this, Naruto silently cursed, since his plan had completely backfired on him and he now need to get back with Shikamaru and the others as quickly as possible. Well then I guess I don't have time to waste, Naruto said. Enter Naruto OST Reikiri. No, you don't, the Anbu replied before he began to preform several hand seals. Those hand seals, so he knows a Yoninjutsu medical ninja techniques, Naruto thought as he recognized the hand seals that the fake Anbu was preforming, which were for Chakra no Mesu chakra scalpels. Once the fake Anbu had finished the necessary hand seals, his hands began to glow bright blue, proving what Naruto had already guessed. After which the fake Anbu disappeared into the ground, leaving only a large hole in the spot he had just been standing in. Shit. Mogaragakure no Jutsu, hiding like a mole technique, thought Naruto, realizing what the fake Anbu had just done. Acting quickly, Naruto jumped up into the air, narrowly avoiding the masked Anbu, who had just appeared out of the ground underneath him. Wasting no time, Naruto struck back using his enhanced strength and brought his right fist down on the enemy shinobi, hoping to end the fight with one blow. But instead missed him and hit the ground, as the masked man proved to be quite fast. Undeterred, Naruto chased after the fake Anbu and attempted a powerful right kick, using his inhuman-like strength again. But like the last time, the fake Anbu avoided Naruto's attack by ducking under the kick and letting Naruto fly past him, who smashed right through a wall that was behind the man. Emerging from the new hole in the wall, Naruto tried to attack the fake Anbu again, but before he could reach him, the fake Anbu disappeared in a blur and reappeared behind the blonde, who tried to avoid him, but was too slow, where the fake Anbu touched his right arm and thigh. After which he then jumped away from the young Senju when he tried to punch him. After landing a few meters away from Naruto, the fake Anbu was pleased to see Naruto fall to his knees and holding his right arm. My arms and leg, the blonde thought, realizing that the fake Anbu had done something. As you may have just noticed, I have weakened the muscles in your right bicep and thigh. Just enough to slow your movements down and prevent you from using that incredible strength of yours, the fake Anbu said before continuing. After being trained by the foremost expert in Io ninjutsu, you of all people should know how lethal chakra scalpels are. With it, I could sever an artery or puncture your heart without even breaking the skin. Then why don't you? That, I am afraid, takes careful aim and a long blade, both of which are difficult to accomplish in the heat of battle, as you well know. Although I could probably achieve this, it would go against my orders, which are to capture you alive. So perhaps you could save us both a great deal of time and effort and give up now, that way you can also save yourself a great deal of pain. Huh? Arrogant bastard, Naruto thought before smirking at the fake Anbu. Hey, if you think that I will just lay down and give up, you don't know the first thing about me. I figured you would say something like that, the masked spy replied with a small sigh before racing towards Naruto with remarkable speed. With little time to spare, Naruto brought up both his arms to defend himself, where he deflected several strikes from the masked man, while he was using his chakra no Mesu. After ducking under another strike, Naruto attempted a leg sweep, hoping to catch the masked Anbu off guard. But instead the fake Anbu avoided the leg swipe by jumping into the air and then placing his hand right on Naruto's chest, causing the spiky-haired boy to fall to his knees in pain. Aga. Damn it, he hit my inner intercostal. Hey, can't breathe. Naruto thought as he struggled to catch his breath, before glancing up at his masked opponent, who was standing over him. This guy, he's no ordinary medic nin, he's faster and more precise than me when using chakra no Mesu. He might be just as good if not better than Tsunade, even Kachan would probably have a hard time with him. I have to be careful not to hit anything too vital. If you were to die unexpectedly, Orochimaru-sama would be greatly displeased with me, the fake Anbu said in a mocking tone, as he held up his hand and deactivated his chakra scalpels. But still you won't be moving anytime soon. But no sooner had he said this, Naruto stood up and delivered a devastating left punch to the man's stomach, sending the Oto spy flying through the air and crashing through a stone wall. End Naruto OST Reikiri. Ak! Cried the fake Anbu member as he spat out some blood behind his mask, before it began to crack and shatter when he went through a stone wall. After which he landed hard on the floor in the middle of a large room of the building he crashed into. I underestimated him. He shouldn't be able to stand, let alone fight this well given everything he went through today, and the injuries I dealt him. But then again, he is the son of one of the Sannin. I guess I cannot afford to play with him anymore. It would be so much easier if I could just kill him. But Orochimaru-sama's orders were clear and I cannot disobey him. After sending the fake Anbu crashing through the stone wall, Naruto immediately fell to his knees in pain and held his chest. Damn it, that was close. I'm lucky that bastard got cocky and let his guard down. Now I need to heal the damage he did and get back to Shikamaru and the girls, fast. Naruto thought as he performed some hand seals and used a Shosen Jutsu, mystical palm technique, to heal his internal injuries. Just as Naruto healed the damage done to his chest leg and was about to heal his arm, the blonde boy saw movement coming from the hole that the fake Anbu made when he was smashed through it. No way. He couldn't have recovered so quickly after that. Naruto thought in shock. I hit him dead on with full force. Soon enough the Oto spy emerged from the hole in the wall, a little wobbly, but fine otherwise. The only difference being that he no longer had his mask, which allowed Naruto to see his face. Kabuto. Naruto spat out angrily, recognizing Oto spy's face. We meet again, Naruto-kun, greeted the gray-haired youth with an arrogant smirk. I knew there was a reason why I didn't like you, the blonde Senju said angrily. Ah yes, with the exception of Sakura-chan, you and the others never really trusted me, the bispectral shinobi mocked. Tell me, what was it that gave me away? You were always too eager to help, especially to people you didn't even know. Like when you gave information on other opponents freely to us at the beginning of the exam, without asking for anything in return. Not to mention when you stopped Sakura-chan from opening the scroll and having us disqualified from the exam, which I'm guessing was to make sure that Sasuke and me made it to the finals. You also seem to be stronger than you let on. At first I thought that was to make people underestimate you in the exam. But after you quit so suddenly in the preliminaries, without even trying, I knew there was something off about you. Yes, very good Naruto-kun, and I suppose you're right, it seems I did overplay my part when I pretended to be a weak, but friendly participant in the exam, the Oto spy said as he continued to smirk at Naruto. Tell me, how is it that you were able to recover so quickly? Naruto asked. You shouldn't be able to get up after being hit like that. Hey, you're not the only gifted shinobi in the world, Naruto-kun. Like you, I have many gifts. One of them being my natural talents for Iyo ninjutsu, where I developed a technique called a new shomatsu, yin healing wound destruction. By anticipating the spot an enemy will attack, I concentrate my chakra to that area and begin a cell recreation process right before the targeted area becomes damaged. So for as long as I have chakra, I can completely heal any damage that you do to me. When Kabuto finished, Naruto silently swore to himself, since this made this things a whole lot more difficult. Crap. As if things weren't hard enough, even if I somehow beat this prick or get away from him. It won't be without some cost, and I might not be in any state to help Sasuke and the others if I get to them in time. Hoping to gain some sort of advantage, Naruto fired several poison-tipped senbon needles at Kabuto, who easily evaded them. But when he moved away, Naruto threw some smoke bombs that contained a strong knockout gas that could even render a shinobi like Kabuto unconscious in moments. Inhaling even a bit of this would be dangerous, thought Kabuto, as the smoke enveloped him. But just when Naruto thought he had won, he felt a pair of hands grab his legs and realized that Kabuto had used the Mogaragakure no Jutsu again to escape the gas and tunnel underneath him. Realizing he needed to do something quickly, Naruto gathered as much chakra as he could into his left fist and slammed it into the ground, pulverizing the street and creating a large crater around him. Once the dust settled, Kabuto, who had someone escape damage, emerged from the ground a few feet away from the Senju. My, that was rather close, Kabuto commented with his usual arrogant smirk. Well, let's see you try and dodge this. Naruto yelled as he performed some hand seals and shouted, Mokuton, Mokashoku, wood release, wooden tentacles. When Naruto shouted this, several dozen wooden tentacles erupted from the ground around Kabuto, forcing the silver-haired youth to jump up into the air to avoid them. After evading all the wooden tentacles, Kabuto then landed on one of the larger tentacles, where he then saw Naruto racing up the wooden tentacle before punching him right in the face. But just as Naruto had punched him, Kabuto reverted into a large wooden log, revealing he had replaced himself at the last second. Looking around, Naruto soon saw Kabuto standing on the ground below him. Annoyed by the arrogant smirk of the elder boy, Naruto fired several large wooden spikes from hands, which Kabuto easily dealt with, by cutting them in half with his chakra scalpels. This of course surprised Naruto, since the wooden objects he made were very strong and could not be easily cut or destroyed. After destroying Naruto's wooden spikes, Kabuto watched as the son of Tsunade jumped down from the wooden tentacles he was standing on and face off against him again. Wanting to end this quickly and get Naruto to a secure location, Kabuto raced towards the blonde boy, but just as he crossed half the distance between them, he was forced to jump back, when he noticed a large hail of kunai, shuriken and senbon's needles falling from the sky towards him. As soon as he avoided all the projectiles, which now littered the ground in front of him, Kabuto noticed that 3 young girls had now appeared in front of Naruto. These girls were none other than Niyugito of Kumogakure, Hidden Cloud, Yuki Haku of Kirigakure, Hidden Mist, and Hattori Mai of Omegakure, Hidden Rain. When Kabuto saw the 3 Kunoichi, he knew things had gotten a lot more difficult, given how skilled each of the girls were. Haku-chan, Yugito-chan, Mai-chan, what are you 3 doing here? A confused Naruto asked when he saw the 3 girls appear in front of him, who were all staring at Kabuto careful. Hey, what does it look like? We're saving your sorry ass, Yugito replied with a small smirk and glanced back at Naruto, all the while keeping a watch on Kabuto, who had yet to move. The three of us met up, when we were looking for you and when we saw your Mokoshoku, we headed straight here. Not that I don't appreciate the help, but why are you three here? Naruto asked, this is my village's fight, it doesn't involve any of your villages. It seems that is no longer the case with my village, as the Mizukage has ordered Zabuza-sama and the rest of us to assist your village in this battle, Haku replied, surprising both Naruto and Kabuto at the news. Same here, Yugito replied, B-sensei decided that we would help you all out this time. Besides, I told you before, if anyone is going to defeat you, it's me, so I won't let you die until I have another rematch. You're going to have to get in like Neko girl, because if anyone is going to have a rematch with him, it's me. Mai spoke suddenly before she turned around and grabbed Naruto by the collar and brought him right up to her angry face. And after what you did to me, you owe me. What did I do? Naruto asked, not sure what the girl meant. You damn well know what you did. The girl shouted angrily, you helped back on our fight, not only do you possess superhuman strength, but you also have the same kind of affinity for Sutan ninjutsu as the Nadaime Hokage, not to mention you can use Mokuton. Do you know how humiliating it was to watch your battle with Neko girl over there and realize how much you had held back on our fight? Hey, listen Mai-chan, I can explain, I had a good reason for not using my other abilities, and now nervous Naruto said as he tried to calm the angrily girl down. I don't care what your excuses are. The Kanoiki rounded. Once this battle is over, you and I are going to have a rematch and this time you're going to use all your abilities. Also don't you dare think I have forgotten what you did after that battle with Neko girl. At the mention of the incident, both Naruto and Yugito blushed slightly, while an irritated look appeared on Haku's face. That was an accident, my body just gave out when I was going to help Yugito-chan up, I swear, Naruto explained. Oh, and you just happened to land on her chest when you did? Mai asked with a disbelieving look. It was an accident, I swear, Naruto pleaded, who was starting to sweat a little, since Mai was not someone he wanted to piss off. Well then, you're going to have to make it up to me, by going out on a date with me, the brunette girl said, causing Naruto and the two girls to look at her in surprise. Date. Repeated Naruto with a slight blush, as he thought about the idea of him and Mai on a date together. Yes. Are you serious? Yugito asked as she turned to look at Mai in disbelief at how she just asked Naruto out on a date when they were in the middle of a battlefield. Stay out of this Neko girl, this is between my fiancé and me. Mai said where she let go of Naruto and turned to Yugito. Fiancé, well this is certainly interesting news. Kabuto thought to himself as he watched the drama in front of him unfold. He's not your fiancé, and now very irritated Haku said suddenly, you just declared yourself his fiancé after he defeated you. His own mother refuses to acknowledge you as his fiancé. Tisk, as if she has any say in the matter, Mai scoffed. Naruto-kun and I are clearly a perfect match for one another, as we are clearly the two strongest fighters in the exam. Oh really? Asked Yugito with a sarcastic tone, and that would explain how you only made it to the preliminaries, before you were knockout. At the mention of this a large tick formed on Mai's head. That was only because I was facing Naruto-kun, if you and I had fought then, I would have been the one who fought him in the semi-finals. Unlike you, I rely on my own powers, not another. After hearing Mai's retort, a large frown appeared on Yugito's face, knowing what the girl meant. Hey, that's tough talk coming from someone from one of the minor villages. You want to go at it? Mai asked, who was angered at how Yugito just insulted her village, before taking out her two new fans and opening them up. Well, I'm more than ready to go at it if you a Neko girl. Just don't go crying, when I send you back to Kumo with your tail between your legs. Hey, I would be more worried about the Kiri girl here, than you. At least she would be a challenge, Yugito sneered, which annoyed not only Mai, but also Haku. Excuse me? Haku asked in an annoyed tone, not liking what Yugito was stating in regards to her. Stay out of this, ice princess. This is between Neko girl and me, Mai stated. I do not take orders from you, Mai-san, Haku replied, where the three girls proceeded to glare at one another. It got so bad, that Naruto, who was watching the argument from the sidelines, could have swore that he saw lightning emanating out of the girls' eyes as they glared at one another. Iyush, can I say something? Naruto asked, in an attempt to calm the situation. What? Rounded the three girls, where they all turned to Naruto with angry looks on their faces. Nothing, never mind, Naruto said meekly. Who was intimated by the looks they were giving him and did not want to be caught in the middle of the spat between the three Konosuke. Fortunately though, before things could get out of hand, a sudden distraction came in the form of Baki and a dozen Suna shinobi, who were all clearly Jonin. During the battle in the stadium, Baki had noticed Naruto leaving and realized that the blonde Senju was going after Sasuke and Gara. Knowing he needed to keep Naruto away from his student, Baki quickly gathered 3 teams of Suna shinobi and went after the Senju heir, and eliminate him before he could reach Gara. Kabuto, what's going on here? Why are you playing around with these kids? You need to deal with that boy before he can get to Gara and use his Mokuton powers, Baki said angrily. Ah, Baki-san, excellent timing, Kabuto greeted. I was actually about to capture Naruto-kun, but as you can see, some unexpected complications appeared. So if you would be so kind, perhaps you and your men here could help me deal with them, that way we can finish things off nice and quick without further trouble. Great, out of the frying pan and into the fire, muttered Naruto when he saw the Suna shinobi preparing to attack. Remember Baki-san, Orochimaru-sama wants Naruto-san alive, and you would do well to remember that, Kabuto warned. After hearing Kabuto forbidding him from harming the Senju heir, Baki frowned in anger. He was a veteran shinobi of many years, who had fought in countless battles and was one of Suna's best, and yet he was being ordered about like some underling by a boy half his age, who was from another village. But despite his anger, the seasoned Jonin knew when to swallow his pride and that the mission came first. So after quickly getting over his annoyance, Baki ordered his men to attack. Who unleashed a hail of kunai at the 4 youths. Before Naruto or the girls could even try to defend themselves, a massive wooden dome appeared in front of them and blocked the hail of kunai. This was then followed by several dozen wooden spikes that sprung out of the ground and nearly impaled Kabuto and the Suna shinobi, forcing them to jump back. Shortly after, the wooden dome around the genin retreated back into the ground. Nice going, Naruto-kun, Mai said as she turned to her fiancé. That wasn't me, Naruto replied. But then who else could use Mokuton? Yugito asked in surprise, since last she checked Naruto was the only Mokuton user alive. Him, the blonde boy replied, where he then pointed to his sensei Yamato who had appeared in front of the 4 genin. Thanks Yamato-sensei, but what are you doing here? When you and the others left to go after Sasuke-san, I noticed that the fake Anbu bear and several Oto and Suna shinobi had gone after you, so I decided to follow you as well to assist. Naruto-kun, what is going on? How is it that you sensei can perform Mokuton? Is he a member of your clan? Haku asked as she turned to her friend in surprise and was joined by both Mai and Yugito, who were just as surprised and confused as she was. I wouldn't mind knowing that myself, spoke a new voice. That's ditto for me, yo, said another new voice. Turning to the direction of the 2 new voices, the group saw that the 2 new voices belonged to none other than Zabuza and Killer Bee, who suddenly appeared next to the 4 genin and then joined Yamato in facing against Kabuto and the Suna nins. Unsure of the intention of the 2 shinobi, Yamato kept his guard up and eyed them carefully. Seeing how tense Yamato was, the demon of the hidden mist smirked behind his mask as he slung his oversized sword over his shoulder. You don't to worry, Mokuton boy, I'm not your enemy today, in fact it seems that we are on the same side again. The Mizukage has ordered me to help you Konoha nins out, which works out pretty well for me. How so? The Mokuton user asked, who was still unsure of the Kiri swordsman. Because I owe that brat over there a debt for saving my life and treating my wounds, Zabuza replied as he pointed his thumb back to Naruto. And I don't like owing debts to anyone, especially to brats like him. After hearing Zabuza's answer, Yamato just nodded, satisfied with the man's answer, since despite his ruthless reputation, Zabuza had code of honor which would require him to repay his debts to people. It also helped given how Haku was here helping Naruto as well, confirming what Zabuza said about them helping Konoha. Excuse me Zabuza-sama, but how did you know I would be here? Asked Haku, who was curious as to how her teacher knew she would be here. When Chojuro came back and informed me of that crazy redheads, aka Mei plan and told me that you took off. I knew that you had gone after the brat here, given how worried you were for him, the masked man answered as he pointed to Naruto again. When Yugito and Mai heard this, both girls looked at the female ice user, who was blushing slightly at how her sensei mentioned that she was worried for Naruto and did her best to hide her blush from everyone. Seeing the blush on Haku's face, both Mai and Yugito raised their right eyebrows in suspicion. Naruto on the other hand remained ignorant of the hidden meaning to Zabuza's words and took what he said without any thought. And what of you B-san, what are your intentions? Yamato asked as he turned to the Kumo Jonin. I'm just being nice, as a friend in need in a friend indeed, Killer B rhymed with a cheesy smirk. Cut the crap sensei, and stop trying to act all cool, Yugito said with annoyance. The only reason you decided to help is because you're hoping that by helping Naruto you'll earn some points with his mother. WWHHAATT. Yelled Naruto in anger, before turning to glare at the elder Jinchuriki. Hey yo, a man can dream and be, said the dark-skinned man, only to be stopped in mid-sentence by a murderous glare from Naruto, who was also leaking a large amount of killing intent, so much so, that even Zabuza was impressed by it. Eventually though Naruto began to calm down and took deep calming breaths, knowing that he had other important matters to deal with first. Calm down Naruto, calm down, the blonde boy thought to himself, while he continued to glare at Killer B, who actually looked a little nervous from the murderous stare the spiky-haired blonde was giving him. Now is not the time, first we deal with Gara and the invasion, then we kill B-sensei. After he had finally calmed down, Naruto suddenly turned to Yugito, as he had been wondering something ever since she appeared to help him. Not that I don't appreciate the help Yugito-chan, but won't you, B-sensei and the others be in trouble for getting involved in this fight? I don't think we will have to wonder about that, the blonde girl replied cryptically, making Naruto wonder what she meant. In the stands. DDDIIIEE. Yelled one masked Otonin and he tried to stab his opponent. Only to have his opponent sidestep his stab and grab his face and slam the poor shinobi head first through a wall, creating a massive hole in it. That takes care of another, murmured the Raikage as he dusted his hands off. This is crazy, said C suddenly as he stood next to his leader and deflected an incoming kunai with his own. Ever since they appeared in the stands, the shinobi of Oto and Suna had been specifically targeting him, forcing the three Kumo shinobi to fight back and defend themselves. Damn that Orochimaru. The Raikage shouted angrily as he smashed his large fist into a Suna nin's face. He's not only targeting Konoha, but us as well. But why? Asked C, who could not understand why the former Sannin forces would attack them as well. He's probably hoping to not only destroy Konoha, but also eliminate the Mizukage and me, weakening both our villages. Allowing Suna and the other villages to take advantage of our weakened state and start a war. How can you be so sure? C asked as he blocked yet another kunai which was flying towards the Raikage. It's the only possible explanation as to why they are attacking us, rounded the bulky cage as kicked an Oto shinobi away and sent him crashing into a nearby Suna shinobi. But what he and the others didn't know was that the reason why the invading shinobi were attacking them was because of Killer B and his team, who decided to help Naruto and his village out and attack the Oto and Suna forces, making the enemy shinobi believe that Kumo was siding with Konoha. See where are B and the others? Asked, wanting to know where his brother and his team were. Using his sensory skills, the blonde Kumo shinobi quickly located the 5 shinobi. Simui, Omoi and Karui are all currently with the Daimyo-sama and are protecting him. Bidono and Yugito-san are currently outside the stadium in the village. Damn it, what the hell are those two thinking? They should have stayed here, growled the annoyed Cage. What do we do, boss? Darui asked as he turned to his village leader, after using his large sword to slash at an incoming Oto nin. C. I want you to head to Simui and her team and help protect the Daimyo-sama. Nodding to the Raikage, the Kumo medic quickly raced off towards the 3 genin and the lightning Daimyo. What about me, boss? Darui asked. You stay with me, Darui, the Raikage said as he took off his cage robes and hat, revealing his hulking build. For now at least, we're fighting with Konoha. If Orochimaru thinks he can eliminate us all in one fell swoop, he is severely underestimating the shinobi of Kumo. After saying this, the muscular cage exploded with lightning, which covered his entire body and disappeared in a blinding flash, where he proceeded to attack every Suna and Oto shinobi he could see. With Simui and the others. Shit, this is insane, why the hell are we even getting involved? Karui asked as he deflected an incoming shuriken with her katana. But as she did, an Oto shinobi moved in on her, and tried to stab her in the chest with his short tanto blade. Only to be stopped by Omoi, who appeared in front of the enemy shinobi and used the bottom of his sword handle to stop the man's attack. This then allowed Karui to jump over Omoi and attack the enemy shinobi on his unguarded side, killing him with one swift slash. "We're getting involved because B-sensei told us so," Omoi replied, before leaping into the air and deflecting several incoming kunai that were coming in on him from different directions. "So I suggest you stop your complaining and focus on the battle at hand." "What did you say, you lollipop-sucking bastard?" An angry Karui yelled as she turned to her teammate. "Both of you two need to cool down, as this is neither the time nor the place for your bickering," Simui reprimanded, as she kicked away a Suna shinobi who tried to sneak up on her. After Simui kicked the enemy shinobi away, both Karui and Omoi ceased their quarreling, realizing that they needed to focus on protecting not only the lightning daimyo, but also Simui, who had still yet to recover from her battle with Haku. Although the blonde girl was not in any serious danger from her injuries, she was still far from 100%, which both her teammates could see. Given how sluggish her movements were and how tried she looked, even though she did her best not show it. Once they had found the common ground again, both Omoi and Karui used their finely honed teamwork to assist their teammate in holding back the enemy and protect the lightning daimyo. With Kakashi and the others. As the battle in the stands continued to rage, Kakashi and the other Jonin sensei were still fighting fiercely against the invading shinobi. During the battle, Kakashi and Guy once again found themselves back to one another, using their advanced teamwork, which they had developed after all the years they had spent sparring and fighting alongside one another. After knocking out another Oto Nin with a strong spinning kick, Guy suddenly noticed something in one of the other stands. "Kakashi, look," Guy called as he pointed to the other stands. "If I'm not mistaken, that's the Mizukage-sama and her bodyguard, and they are attacking the enemy." "You're right, and that's not the only weird thing," said Anko, who suddenly appeared next to the two Jonin and pointed to the stands on the opposite side. "Look over there." When the two Jonin looked, they were surprised to see the Reikage and his bodyguard Darui, also fighting the Oto and Suna shinobi. "What the hell is going on here?" muttered the former student of Orochimaru. "Why the Mizukage-sama, the Reikage-sama and their people helping us? I would have thought they would have been the first to skip out the moment things went to hell." "I don't know, but let's not look a gift horse in the mouth," said Kakashi as he lifted up his headband to reveal his Sharingan. "With their help, we can clear out the enemy a lot faster and get to the Hokage-sama and the others sooner." Nodding to this reasoning, the two other Jonin took off with Kakashi to find more enemies. With Naruto and the others. At the same time, Kabuto, Baki and the other Suna shinobi became concerned over the arrival of not only the Reikage's brother, the Jinchuriki of the Hachibi 8 Tails, but also the infamous Kirigaku no Kijin, demon of the hidden mist Momoki Zabuza and a Konoha shinobi, who seemingly could use Mokuton, just like Naruto. Another Mokuton user, "What's going on here?" Baki asked out loud, who was becoming more frustrated over everything that was happening today. It was bad enough that Naruto revealed the ability to use Mokuton. But now it seemed that there was a second person who had the ability. Is he related to the boy as well? "No, he isn't, or at least not in the traditional sense," Kabuto said suddenly with a small frown. "What do you mean?" Baki asked, not understanding what Kabuto talking about. "Not long ago, Orochimaru-sama told me a story back when he was still with Konoha. During that time Orochimaru-sama abducted 60 newborn infants to use for an experiment, which involved injecting the Shodai Hokage-sama's DNA into them, in the hope of replicating the Shodai-sama's ability to use Mokuton, allowing him to suppress and control Biju," Kabuto answered. Sadly though, Orochimaru-sama was unable to see the results of his experiment, as the Sandaime Hokage-sama discovered what he had done and forced Orochimaru-sama to flee, leading him to believe that all the infants had died. "But it seems that is no longer the case, isn't that right, Yamato-san?" Kabuto said with an arrogant smirk, causing Yamato and the others all to frown angrily at the gray-haired youth. This also certainly explains Naruto-kun's rapid growth and skill in using Mokuton, and I'm certain Orochimaru will also find the news interesting as well. "And people call me a demon," Zabuza thought in revulsion, after hearing what the Snake Sennin had done. "That's whack-yo," muttered Killer Bee, who frowned at the news. "Naruto-kun, is this true?" asked Haku as she turned to her blonde friend with a look of shock on horror. "It's true," Naruto said while glaring angrily at the still smirking Kabuto, who seemed quite pleased with himself over digging up Yamato's past. Seeing this just made the blonde Senju even angrier and wanted nothing more than to smash his fist right into the arrogant shinobi's face and send him flying again. What kind of twisted monster is this Orochimaru? A disgusted Yugito asked herself. Even Sofu would not stand for such acts, and appalled my thought. Naruto, Yamato said suddenly while still staring at Kabuto, you need to get going, find Sabaku no Gara and make sure he does not release his Biju. If he is allowed to, he will do a measurable amount of damage to the village. But what about you, sensei? Asked Naruto. I will stay here and prevent them from following you. Not liking the idea of leaving his sensei to fight all these enemy alone, Naruto was about to object. But before he could even say a word, Zabuza suddenly spoke. You should do what your sensei says, brat, and get going. We'll stay here and back him up. Besides, said the smirking demon, it was while since I've been in a good fight. We've got your back, said Killer Bee with a smirk and thumbs up, before he took out two of his short swords from his back. Seeing that Killer Bee and Zabuza were going to help, Naruto's concerns eased and he took off after Sasuke and Gara, but as soon as he took off, Kabuto and the Suna shinobi attacked. Acting quickly, Yamato created several more wooden spikes, which erupted from the ground, halted the Suna shinobi advance. All except for Kabuto, who skillfully maneuvered around them and used his chakra no Mesu to cut through any wooden spikes that remained in his way, much to Yamato's shock. After bypassing Yamato, Kabuto quickly raced after Naruto, with the intent of removing the blonde boy from the equation. Seeing Kabuto moving towards his student, Yamato attempted to intercept the Konoha traitor before he could reach his student. But before he could act, Baki appeared in front of him and attacked him, preventing him from helping the young Senju. Zabuza and Killer Bee couldn't help either, as like Yamato, they were busy fighting with the 12 other Suna shinobi who had maneuvered around the wood uses wooden spikes. After a minute or so, Kabuto caught up to Naruto, but before he could even re-engage him, he was suddenly blown back by a large gust of wind from Mai, who appeared in front of Naruto again, along with Haku and Yugito. After being blown back by Mai's attack, Kabuto quickly channeled some of his chakra into his feet, allowing him to stick to the ground, preventing him from being blown back any further. Naruto-kun, please proceed on, we will deal with Kabuto-san, Haku said, as she stared coldly at the bespectacled teen. Are you serious? A surprised Naruto asked. Haku-chan, neither you nor Yugito-chan have recovered fully from your battles and are in no shape to fight again. Don't worry about us, we can take him, Yugito said confidently. You're not listening to me, Naruto rounded, surprising the three girls, with the way he was speaking to them. Kabuto is a lot stronger than he let on in the preliminaries. I could barely touch the bastard when we fought. He's a combat medic like me, and if I were to guess, I would say he was at Jonin level at least and is as good if not better than my Nei-chan, hell even my Ka-chan would have a hard time with him. After hearing this, the three girls were left naturally surprised, not expecting to hear this, and they could tell that Naruto was telling the truth, since they could hear the concern in his voice. Hey, well, this certainly makes things interesting, Mai said to herself, with a grin, since it had been a while since she last fought. We appreciate the warning, Naruto-kun, but we will not change our minds, so please go, Haku said stubbornly, while watching Kabuto careful for any sudden movements. But, Naruto tried to say, before he was interrupted by Yugito. Listen, Naruto, you need to get going now. Yugito rounded as she turned to the younger blonde. You're the only one that can stop that psychopath, and if you stay here to fight, you may not get to your friends in time. Knowing that Yugito was right, Naruto gritted his teeth in frustration. Fine, I leave him to you, but take these, you're going to need them, Naruto said. Before he pulled out a small pill bottle from his utility belt, and took out 2 pills from it and handed them to Yugito and Haku. They're food pills, they should help restore you chakra reserves and allow you both to fight. Nodding their thanks, both girls quickly took the pills, and within seconds they felt their bodies resurge with chakra and energy and were ready to fight again. After giving the girls the food pills, Naruto wished them luck before taking off. Seeing Naruto leaving, a large frown appeared on Kabuto's face, as he needed to capture Naruto before he met up with Gara. But his current situation presented him with an unexpected opportunity, namely Haku and Mai. Both girls had proven themselves to be highly skilled and capably kunoichi, where even Orochimaru praised their skill. If he could capture them along with Naruto, he knew his master would be very pleased with him. Even if he had to kill them, their bodies could reveal some valuable data. Especially Haku's, who was the last of the Yuki clan and wielded the unique bloodline limit Hyoten Ice Release. I had heard that Naruto-kun was quite popular with many of the girls here in Konoha. But it seems that he is just as popular with them in other villages as well. In fact, he seems to hang around with quite a lot of cute girls, Kabuto commented with irritating smirk. I'm a little envious. None of the girls of course reacted to Kabuto's comments and continued to stare at the gray-haired shinobi, waiting for him to make a move. If you don't mind me asking, perhaps you could tell me, which of you is his favorite? The smirking Oto-nin asked. Tisk, that's a stupid question, Mai replied. I'm the obvious choice, especially when compared to these two. Pardon me, Haku asked nicely with a kind smile, all the while a dark murderous aura hung over her, where Kabuto could have sworn he saw the image of a demon in it. What's that supposed to mean? Yugito asked angrily. Hey, isn't it obvious? I'm clearly the best choice, Mai said confidently, as she flipped her ponytail into the air and puffed her chest out, showing over her ample bosom. Besides, I am his fiancé after all. I believe that is debatable, Mai-san, since you are the only one who believes that, Haku retorted with an annoyed look, before turning into an evil-looking smirk. Besides, I believe Naruto-kun said he prefers someone who is not so showy. After Haku said this, a large tick appeared on Mai's head, where she quickly turned to glare at the ice user, knowing what she was really saying. That's pretty big talk coming from someone like you, Ice Princess. At least I have something to show, you're barely above a petanko. Blushing angrily at the comment regarding her chest size, Haku glared coldly at Mai, and looked ready to kill the granddaughter of Hanzo. But before anything like that could happen, the two girls' attention suddenly turned to Yugito after she said, that's the only thing you got going for you. You got something to say, Neko girl? Mai asked angrily as she turned to the Kumo Kunoiki. You heard me, retorted the blonde girl coldly, and stared at Mai, unafraid. Ha, I knew you had a thing for my Naruto-kun, I just bet you maneuvered yourself on the ground, just so Naruto-kun would land on top of you. Accused Mai. I did no such thing. Screamed the now red-faced Yugito, as the memory and humiliation of what happened at the end of her and Naruto's match was still fresh on her mind. Tisk, like I believe that, scoffed the Kunoiki. For once I would have to agree with Mai-san, as you clearly made no effort to avoid him or push him off you when he landed on you, Haku commented as she stared suspiciously at the now red Yugito. I'm not interested in Naruto-kun, yelled the now scarlet Nibi Jinchuriki. Naruto-kun, said both Haku and Mai said together, who now shared the same suspicious look. I didn't mean that, it was an accident. An embarrassed Yugito said quickly, as she couldn't believe that she used kun when she mentioned Naruto. I don't see him that way, and I couldn't get him off me because I couldn't move my body. Well, that was convenient, Mai said sarcastically, who didn't believe a word Yugito said. Standing not far from the girl, an amused Kabuto watched as the three Kunoiki continued to bicker. Soon after, the three girls stopped arguing and just glared angrily at one another. As Kabuto watched the three-way glaring match, he could see a dark menacing aura hovering over the three Kunoiki. He could even have sworn he saw fire emanate from the three girls' eyes as they stared angrily at one another. Oh, ho, a grinning Kabuto thought, could it be that I landed on the proverbial landmine? At that moment, not that far from the four shinobi, a certain blonde-haired Senju had a sudden bad case of the chills. As if something bad was happening somewhere and he was involved in it in some way. Deciding to take advantage of the girl's distraction, Kabuto reactivated his chakra scapels and quickly raced forward in an attempt to finish the three Kunoiki off quickly. But just as he reached them, the three girls quickly jumped into the air and avoided him, before landing several feet away from him. I guess I was hoping for too much to think that would work, Kabuto muttered to himself. Tisk, sneaky bastard, Mai mumbled before glancing back at her fellow Kunoiki. You two just stay back, I handle him myself. That would be unwise, Mai-san, Haku warned. Naruto-kun said that Kabuto was extremely dangerous and should not be underestimated. I can handle him myself, you two would only get in my way, Mai scoffed, before she raised one of her hand-size fans and yelled, Futon, Kyofu, wind style, strong wind. Creating a massive blast of wind. 2. When the wind attack hit him, Kabuto shielded his face with his arms and channeled some of his chakra to his feet, allowing him to stick to the ground. But even with this, the gray-haired shinobi struggled to hold his ground, due to the strength of the blast, as he was pushed back a few feet and received several cuts on his arms and legs. After the attack ended and as soon as Kabuto lowered his arms, Mai suddenly appeared kneeling right in front of him and tried to slash his stomach open with the spikes that appeared on the tips of her right-hand fan. Acting fast, Kabuto quickly jumped back and narrowly avoided the deadly slash, where only his shirt was cut, leaving a long horizontal slash across his shirt. As soon as Kabuto avoided her attack, Mai moved forward and attacked with her two fans, which now both had spikes on their tips, and attempted to slash the Konoha traitor again. But when she tried, Kabuto skillfully avoided her slashes and then kicked her left-handed fan out of her hand and jumped back a few feet. Undeterred, Mai continued to go on the offensive and took out and threw two kunai at the gray-haired teen, who avoided the projectiles before racing up to the Konoiki and slamming his hand in the middle of the girl's chest with his chakra no Mesu, disrupting her breathing and pushing her away, as well as causing her to drop her other fan. As she flew through the air, the injured Mai quickly formed several hand seals and thought Kaiten, Ru no Hoko, fire style, dragon's roar, as she expelled a massive stream of fire from her mouth. Within seconds, the large stream of fire enveloped the Oto spy, who was shocked by how quickly Mai had been able to counterattack after he injured her. Hey, he wasn't that tough, the granddaughter of Hanzo thought with a painful smirk, as she was still having some trouble breathing, thanks to Kabuto's attack. But before she could congratulate herself any further, a pair of glowing arms appeared out of the ground underneath her and grabbed hold of her legs, weakening her muscles. Damn it, cursed Mai, as she fell to the ground, realizing she had been duped. Once Mai hit the ground, a smirking Kabuto quickly appeared out of the ground, and pushed up his glasses. I have to say, I'm rather impressed with fighting ability and can see why Orochimaru-sama praises your skill, commented Kabuto. But still, I'm afraid you are not quite at my level just yet. Just as the gray-haired youth was about to deliver the final blow, he suddenly saw several flaming hairballs flying towards him, forcing him to jump away. After forcing Kabuto away from Mai, Yugito quickly appeared in front of the girl, acting as a shield between her and Kabuto, who landed not far the two girls. But moments after his feet touched the ground, Kabuto suddenly felt a sudden chill in their air. When he turned around, the gray-haired teen saw a large ice mirror appear behind him, which Haku emerged from and stabbed him in his lower back with some senbon needles. But as soon as she did this, Kabuto turned into a wooden log, revealing that he replaced himself and more than likely did it as soon as he felt the chill in the air. Realizing that she had missed her opponent, Haku quickly moved over to where Yugito and Mai were, and immediately used her needles to treat the damage that was done to her legs. At the same time, Kabuto reappeared in front of the three girls and began to reevaluate his situation, while Yugito eyed him careful, to make sure he didn't try anything. Hey, so much for handling it yourself, remarked Yugito with slight sneer. Shut it, Neko girl, rounded Mai, who was in no mood to deal Yugito, wanting nothing more than to pay Kabuto back for her humiliation. Given Kabuto-san's advanced skill level, I believe it would be in all our best interests if we put our difference aside, for now at least, and work together to defeat Kabuto-san. Wouldn't you agree, Mai-san? Asked Haku as she treated Mai's legs. For a moment Mai said nothing, but eventually after much thought the young Konoiki spoke. Fine, we'll work together, but don't blame me if you get in the way and get yourself killed, as I have no intention of holding back. Funny, I was just about to say the same thing to you, Yugito replied with a confident smirk, which Mai returned. Then we are in agreement, said Haku, with a pleased look, even though she wasn't exactly thrilled with the idea of working with Mai. She willing to put her problems with the girl aside for now, since she knew she had bigger problems to deal with. Zabuza had taught her long ago that shinobi should try not to take things personally, since sometimes your life may depend on working with a former enemy to defeat a common enemy, who is stronger than both of you. Shortly after, Mai was once again back on her feet, and together the three girls prepared to take on the right-hand man of Orochimaru, who frowned when he saw them like this. It seems things have gotten more problematic, Kabuto thought, knowing that with the three girls now working together, it would make defeating them that more difficult and time-consuming. Not wanting to waste any more time than he already had, Kabuto quickly raced towards the three teens, who immediately did the same and recommenced their battle. With Naruto. After leaving Kabuto to his three female friends, Naruto made his way through the village hoping to find his friends. As he jumped across the buildings that were damaged from previous fighting, Naruto used a healing jutsu to treat his remaining injuries from his battle with Kabuto. But once he got over the wall, he found he could not find any tracks or evidence that would tell him where his friends or the Otonins went. Realizing he needed help, Naruto bit his finger and preformed several hand seals before placing his hand on the ground and yelling, Kuchio's no jutsu summoning technique, causing a large cloud of smoke to appear. Once the smoke dissipated, a small orange toad was revealed. Yo Naruto, what's up? Been a while, greeted the small toad. Hey Gamakichis, look, I really need your help, Naruto said quickly, having no time for pleasantries. What's up? I thought you summoned me to play, since I haven't been summoned for ages, Gamakichi complained. I've been stuck looking after Gamatatsu, with no one else to play with, and you don't even bother to give me any snacks. Look, I'm sorry Gamakichi, I'll make it up to you later, I promise, but I really need your help, it's an emergency. What do you need me for? The small toad asked, since he wasn't much of a fighter. I need your help in finding my friends. They took off after another friend of mine who is after this crazy Suna shinobi, and they are being chased by a large group of enemy shinobi. Okay, fine, I'll help, but once this is all over you have to summon me more often and double the amounts of snacks you usually give me. Done, Naruto said quickly, knowing that he had no time to argue with the orange toad and needed to get to his friends fast. So can you find them? Give me a second, replied Gamakichi as he began to sniff the air, since Toad had a strong sense of smell. 3. Okay, I got the scent of a large group of people all heading in that direction, Gamakichi said, where he pointed west. Great, said Naruto before he quickly picked up the little toad and placed him on his head so that he could keep up with Naruto and inform him of any change in directions. With Sasuke and the others. For several minutes Sasuke raced through the Konoha forest after the Suna siblings, in an attempt to prevent them from escaping. Eventually he started to gain ground, given how Temari and Kankuro were slowed down from carrying Gara. As he grew closer he met with Temari, who had stayed behind to stall the Uchiha, but was unable to do so for long, as Sasuke proved to be too much for her to handle, especially given her weakened state. Before Sasuke could finish her off, Kankuro appeared after turning back to help his sister and told her to take Gara away and threat his injuries while he held Sasuke off. But before their battle could begin, Shino interceded, telling Sasuke to go after Gara and Temari while he dealt with Kankuro. Taking the young Abarame's offer, Sasuke maneuvered past Kankuro and continued after Gara and Temari and eventually caught up with them and faced off with Gara again, who had recovered from his injury. But before they could recommence with their battle, Gara began to wither in pain and then transform. When the transformation ended, Sasuke was horrified to see that the upper right half side of Gara's body and changed into a demonic form, where the boy barely looked even human anymore. Recovering from his shock, Sasuke immediately defended himself from the mad boy's attacks. But despite his best efforts, the young Uchiha proved to be no match for the partially transformed Gara, who easily blocked all the raven-haired boy's attacks and forced him to hide. Even Sasuke's trump card, the Chidori, proved to be unable to end Kurai's Jinchuriki, where he was only able to damage him slightly. In fact, all it really did was excite the boy and made him become even more bloody thirsty and accelerated his transformation, where he grew a massive tail and attacked. As the battle continued, Sasuke's attacks started to weaken, realizing that he had used the Chidori too much and was running low on chakra. Sasuke tried to conserve his remaining chakra and fought using his kunai and shuriken. But these soon proved to be useless, where Gara began to taunt Sasuke, stating that his hatred was weak and that he should run away like the coward he was. When the Uchiha heard this, his boil began to boil, causing Orochimaru's curse seal to activate, where its markings began to spread throughout his body. Gathering what chakra he could, Sasuke channeled it into his left hand and used it to form one last Chidori, which he used it to deal a serious injury to Gara, causing his right arm to revert back into its normal form. But this victory was short-lived, as Gara's left arm quickly changed into the same long demonic arm as the right. Also, the effects of using the curse seal and using most of his chakra finally took its toll on Sasuke, causing him to collapse on the large tree branch he was standing on. Seeing that his opponent was unable to move, Gara leapt towards the young Konoha genin, with the intent of killing the elder boy. But just as he was about to deliver the final blow, he was stopped by an hail of kunai and shuriken, forcing him halt his attack and move away to a nearby tree branch. When Gara looked towards Sasuke, he was angered to see that the ones who had stopped his attack had been Ino and Sakura, who had finally reached them in time to save Sasuke and were sitting next to him to see how injured the boy was. The two girls were also accompanied by Pakken, but were without Shikamaru, who had stayed back when they realized that they were still being followed by the Oto shinobi that had been chasing them earlier. When the girls finally took full notice of Gara, like Sasuke, they were horrified to see the Tsunade boy's new form. Angered by how he was robbed of his prize by such weaklings, Gara let loose an inhuman roar of rage, which woke the girls up from the frozen state, allowing them to jump in time to safety with Sasuke when Gara attacked. For the next few minutes, the two girls and the dog spent their time dodging Gara's enraged attacks, knowing that one hit could be fatal. With Sakura busy carrying Sasuke, Ino was the only one capable of attacking, but even then there was little she could do, as no matter how many kunai and shuriken she threw, the crazed boy would block them all with his demonic arm and fire them right back at them. She couldn't even use her Shintention no Jutsu mind-body switch technique, as Gara allowed her no opportunity to even try, with his relentless attacks. Eventually Ino's luck finally ran out, as Gara finally managed to hit her with his large demonic arm and sent her crashing into a nearby tree. It was only thanks to the quick reactions of the brave dog Pakken, who pushed her into a nearby branch as she fell, that saved her from falling to the ground and possibly to her death. Seeing Gara take out her friend, Sakura quickly placed Sasuke down on the branch she was standing on and brought her kunai up and bravely held her ground to protect Sasuke. But despite her brave act, she was easily dealt with, where the mad Jinchuriki who grabbed hold of her with his long demonic arm and slammed her into the tree behind her, knocking her out and pinning her to the trunk of the tree with one move. Realizing the danger they were in, Sasuke struggled to get up but his body refused to do so. Damn it, we're finished, Sasuke thought angrily, as he couldn't believe that it was all going to end here. It will take nothing short of a miracle to save us now. Now that he had finally dealt with the annoyances, Gara prepared to finish Sakura off, and planned to deal with Ino and Pakken next, leaving Sasuke last, so that could savor killing him, after all the pain he had caused him. Hidden in the trees, a terrified Temari could only watch in horror, as her younger brother transformed more and more into the monster that had haunted her nightmares for most of her life. Knowing that there was nothing she could do, for as far as she was concerned, the three genin were as good as dead, no one could stop Gara now. But just as Gara was about to deliver the fatal blow to Sakura and end her life, a large crescent-shaped blade of wind appeared and severed Gara's demonic hand from the rest of his arm. After which Gara was sent flying backwards into a large tree several meters away, courteous of a powerful kick to the face from a yellow blur, which suddenly appeared in front of him. After crashing into the tree, Gara raised his head to see who had kicked him. When he looked up, he was surprised to see that the person was none other than Naruto, who was now standing next to the injured Sasuke and in front of the now knocked out Sakura, with a serious look on his face, despite having a toad on his head as he held his katana forward. Looks like I just made it. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.